welcome to today's episode of the Sports Break here on RVNTV.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and joining me in studio is performance trainer Tony Fulton, also known as Coach Tone. Welcome to the show this morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you. Now, we're going to go back, before we even get into your training and everything that you do, let's go back to your career. And you played football, basketball, and ran track at a very competitive level.
Yes.
So can you tell us about your career, especially as a track runner, running in the Masters?
Okay, going back to high school. In high school, I went to Bishop McDonough High School. I made a transfer from there for my last 2 years. I went to Martin Luther King. And, naturally, growing up in inner city, I was interested in playing football, basketball. And, I noticed I had some speed, so I started running track. So when I transferred over to McDevitt, I, went out for the football team, and things didn't go like I wanted to go, so I ran track. And, my junior year, I was honorable mention all Catholic, and then, the football coach asked me, could I come out for my senior year? But at that time, my mind would just focus on just running track.
Right.
And I did go out for the basketball team, and I had made a decision at the last cut that, what's the use of me going out for basketball because of my height? And,
right.
Like any athlete in high school want to get a scholarship, so I said I had a better chance to get a scholarship running track. So I had a meeting with the basketball coach, and I said, said to the coach that I'm going to go ahead and, forego, this last trial because I feel as though I had a better chance to get a scholarship running track. And, he said to me, I thank you for coming to me and explaining your situation because any other normal high school kid would not just show up.
Right,
and he said, well, just to let you know, you would have made the team. So I said,
wow.
okay. And, I went on ahead and ran track, and, I did well. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to get a scholarship, but, track was the number one thing, in my life back then in high school.
So what did you run?
I ran the 100, the 200, and 400.
Ah, speedy.
Yes. That's why the name of our company is Speed Intensify.
Right. So now how was those lessons that you learned as an athlete and even having to make that mature decision deciding to run track instead of playing basketball and football, how do you think that kind of helped propel you towards the next step of your life?
Unfortunately, 20 years after I got out of high school, I regret not playing football because, the desire was still there. So, one thing I would tell all my athletes, I say before you, quote, retire or give it up, make sure it's out of your system. Make sure it's out of your blood because if not, you're going to feel it 15 and 20 years later. Well, I should have, could have, would have, but you didn't do it. But it did prepare me for, the next level as far as, collegiate level. I ran 2 years, at Delaware State University. And because a big disagreement between me and the coach, I stopped running, unfortunately.
Right. Now, that's something that I sadly hear far too often about problems with coaches.
Yes.
And, on both sides of it, coaches with players, obviously. And you're training now, you were playing or running then. What is something that you think that you could have kind of done to get around that? I hear so many times that players just give up the sport they love because they have a coach that doesn't agree with them, that they're constantly butting heads, and they step away from the sport altogether. And as now a trainer, what's something that can keep athletes in sports so that they don't have to, run into that coach and then that keeps them from doing what they love?
Well, as a coach, you have to be fair and honest. And that's the thing I had experienced when I was in college, that my college coach wasn't fair and honest with me. And neither was he trustworthy. And the thing that really, like they said, broke the camel's back was we were preparing to go to Madison Square Garden.
Oh, nice.
And, that's like the mecca of track and field,
yes.
Indoor meet. And we had a time trial because we had 2 slots to fill. We had a time trial, so because we didn't have an indoor facility, we were, running inside the gym. We had a time trial, so everybody knew I was going to win because I was a good turn runner.
Right.
And I did have the fastest time, so after the time trials, we all up to the coach. All right, coach, what it's like? So he said, well, look, I have to evaluate this, and I'll let y'all know tomorrow morning, at practice. So I didn't think nothing of it. So when we came to practice, he said, all right, such and such is on the team, and such is on the team.
Oh, wow.
So I said, well, Coach,
Yeah.
what about me? So he said, you had the fastest time, but, some of the guys was complaining that you run the turns good and that you have advantage. I said, well, Coach, up at Madison Square Garden, if you can't run the turns, you might as well forget about it.
Right.
So I said, well, at least can I go as an alternate? Now I'm taking such and such as an alternate.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, really? So
Wow.
right then and there, that had me thinking about, wanting to give it up. So I said, I continue to, practice and whatnot. And then, like, several weeks later, we were supposed to go to the University of Pittsburgh for indoor meet. I was scheduled to run the 600. So I found out the day before we were supposed to leave, the coach said, well, look, I just got this African guy in, and I want to see him run and all like that, so I'm going to put him in your spot. I said, so what, I'm not going? Nah, I can't take you. Right then and there, I lost all desired track.
Right.
And unfortunately, when the guy came and they put him in me, found out he was way slower than me.
Wow.
So, those experiences like that had, tarnished my desire to continue to run track in college. And like I said, as a coach, you have to be fair and honest with your athlete, because, number one, you don't know what kind of damage that you're going to bring upon them as far as continuing with the sport or even in life. It can affect you as far as your life, it affect you as far as growing as a person.
Wow, that is crazy and unfortunate that it had to play out that way.
Yes.
I do try to believe, or I do firmly believe, that everything does happen for a reason.
Yes, it does.
And
yes, it does.
I mean, at that point in your life, and everyone comes to these speed bumps, I like to call them, where you just don't know what's going to happen next. And, in your mind at that time, it feels like a wall. But when you look back, it was more of a speed bump and something that you just had to get over to get to the next level. So for you, I mean, that was it for you for track. You were done after that. You competed.
Yes.
You were moving on. And how did you take all those things now, before we get into exactly your training and what you do? How did you take those to make you a better coach and trainer moving forward?
Well, I learned from that, and like I said, one of the main things I learned from that is being fair and honest to your athlete, to your client, or to whoever, because I'm a type of person that whatever happened to me, I don't want to happen to anybody else. And I don't want to be the person to cause any ill feelings to anybody. And, I like people to treat me the same way, and I treat you the same way, And like I said, it's all about life. And with me, I'm about encouraging people, helping people, and, being that missing piece that they are missing. And, that's just the type of person that I am.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a great way to be and continue to be like that. So when we get back from this break, we will get into exactly what you do as a trainer, who you work with, some of your clients, and the philosophies that you have in your training program. So you guys don't go too far. We'll be right back after this break.
Love my style, I'm dancing tonight. My smile from pearly white side. Love my style, love my style, love my style. Pearly white, love your smile. From teens to grown-ups braces, they can change your life. All ages and all faces. Your smile from pearly white. Love your style, love your style. Pearly white, love your smile.
For independent living for seniors age 62 and over, People Inc. offers safe, maintenance-free apartments across Western New York. The affordable rent is income-based. For more information, call People Inc. Senior Living at 817-9090.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman
Hi.
will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Welcome back to the Sports Break here on RVNTV.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington, and joining me is performance trainer, Coach Tony Fulton. So we got into his background, training with the top runners in track, and how it kind of discouraged, like, the things that he ran up against as a track runner. Mm-hmm. And now we have to get into what you do as a trainer.
Yes.
So you train with your own organization called Speed Intensified.
Yes.
And what is that exactly?
Speed Intensified is a performance training center where I train athletes to perform better on the court, on the field, mm-hmm. on a baseball diamond, on the soccer field, on the lacrosse field. And mainly what we focus on speed, explosion, quickness, linear quickness, and lateral quickness, mm-hmm. as well as flexibility and strength and conditioning.
Nice. So you work with all sports,
yes.
all ages,
yes.
all genders.
Yes.
And what is kind of your big philosophy that you look to do in training? What is it that you're really trying to hone in on?
Hard work,
mm-hmm.
developing a good work ethics, have a positive mind about what you want to accomplish. Because understand this, if you don't have a positive mind of what you want to do, you're not going to accomplish it. Because everything starts up in the mind, and it reflects down to the body. So training in sports is more mental than physical. And this is what I tell a lot of athletes. First you got to believe that you can do it and think it through, and to begin to speak it and bring it into existence.
Yes. Now, how long have you been training, and how did you kind of get into that?
I've been training around about close to 30 years.
Wow.
And how I got into it, it was back in 1988. My son came home from school and told me he joined the track team. Mm-hmm. But even before that, his mother had told me she didn't want me to force my son into any sports. I said, okay, no problem. So when he came home and said he joined the track team, that's all I needed.
Oh, yeah.
The door was open, so I got in contact with my former coach, Bob Jackson, the Marshall State Track Club, and my son joined the track club, and I became a coach there. Mm-hmm. Then in '93, I branched off from there and started my own track team, which is New Dimension, and I started training, middle school and high school athletes. And God blessed me that I was fortunate enough to train 3 NFL football players.
Right.
One was Bruce Perry. He got drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. Next was Kevin Jones. He got drafted by the Detroit Lions. And Marcus Weeks. He got signed as an unfree agent for the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, nice.
And so, when them guys would come home for the summertime, they would call me up, Coach Stone, I need to train. So I started working them out and training them and things of nature. Mm-hmm. And what got me into started training, football players was I was down at Temple, I think might have been 2001 or 2002. And I went to their pro day. And the pro day is when scouts from NFL teams come and send the college athletes do different kind of drills and whatnot. And naturally, me being a track coach, I'm up here looking at the 40 because the 40 is one of the most important things for skilled people, skilled players. So I'm up here looking at this guy running 40. I'm like, oh man, look at his form, look at his technique, look at the way he runs. I'm like, I can't believe this.
Wow.
And somebody said, but Coach Tone, do you know that's his trainer over there? I said, really? said, yeah, he charged him. I said, you kidding? They pay him, and this is the result.
Right.
So right then and there, I got an interest to, start doing training for the combine, training for the pro day. Then I started training more football players because, when my guys come home from the summertime, other players that they talk to, they would come and, get a workout, and that's where I started, training football players.
Right, and the great thing about track is every athlete needs to know how to run.
Exactly.
And that's something that, if you're training just basketball or just football or just soccer or whatever, that's not something that goes across all sports, but you were able to take what started as your own track team and expand that to be able to train athletes across all sports.
Right.
And that is something that I, even to this day, see a lot of people that don't know how to run. They don't know how to change directions. They don't know the first start. They have no idea how to use their arms, everything like that. And so you're able to bring your specialty in running to every single sport.
Exactly.
That is incredible. Now, for you, as you have gotten more and more into training, what's something that you notice a lot of athletes need the most work with?
running, because I train basketball players as well, and some baseball players, and I'm gonna have to say majority of these athletes do not know how to run.
Wow.
And because when I first get an athlete, I take them through evaluation and testing their strength, their explosion, and all like that, and I have them to run, and a lot of athletes run heel toe. When the proper way of running is staying up on the ball of your feet, because you stay up on the ball of your feet, you can press up, you can get your knees up and extend your legs out, so therefore you can extend your stride out. And a lot of guys do not know how to run or to open up their stride where they can cover more ground with less time.
Right.
So that's one of the main things I teach them how to do, and also about the arms.
Oh,
I say, your arms and your leg works together. The faster you move your arms, the faster your legs will go. And vice versa, the slower you move your arms, the slower your legs is going to go.
That's true.
And these are some of the general things that I work with a lot of athletes to help to improve their performance on the field, either on the court.
Wow. Yeah, and that's something that's so simple, but most people don't know. Pumping your arms, if you're running, your arms aren't moving, you're not going anywhere fast.
That's true.
Or you're doing yourself a disservice and you could be even faster. So now that you have been training for 30 years and you have all these, different players and athletes you've worked with that are at different levels, what's it like for you to sit back and see guys that you work with in the summertime, whenever on TV or getting drafted, going through their process in life as you're trying to help them move forward?
It's a blessing to me because I can see that the work that I have installed in them is bringing about a difference in their life, not only in their life, but also in their performance on the field or the basketball court. And like I tell guys, I say, the better you keep yourself in shape, the better you're going to perform on the court on the basketball field, as well as it's going to extend your playing career. Because if you don't keep your body in good shape, eating right foods and taking the supplements and stretching and getting a massage, your body is just going to be depleted. So I said it's just like a sports car. You have to put in high maintenance into a sports car. You got to put in either 92 or 93 octane as far as gas. You got to put in the top quality oil, and in order for it to function, for it to operate the way that it's supposed to.
Right.
I said your body is the same way. You can't put any and everything in your body and expect you to perform your best when you get on the court, on the field. It's not going to work that way. I said you got to constantly, keep your body in tune. And, these are some of the things that I preach with my guys, and hopefully, they take heed to them.
Yes. And that is the biggest thing. As an athlete, your body is your tool. And when you're working in a job, you may have other skill sets, but when it comes to being an athlete, if you're not physically healthy, the rest doesn't matter. You can have the quickest first start, the best jump shot, the best arm as a quarterback, whatever, but if you're not healthy and taking care of your body, at some point it's going to catch up to you.
That's
so
right.
As we wrap up the show, I just want you to do a couple things for people watching. Where can they find you? And then also, what is your biggest message that you would want to get out? If you had one thing to tell people, right now, which is what you're going to do, what is it that you would like to tell athletes, young kids, parents, whoever that may be watching?
Well, for one thing is that I see is whatever coach or whatever sport that your son or your daughter plays, make sure the coach know what he's doing. I see a lot of athletes that are being trained improperly. You know, do your due diligently. Check that person out. Check their background out. Check out the people that they have trained before. Even check out other coaches to get their opinion of this person and that person, because a coach is almost like an extension of you.
Right.
And you want that coach to be able to train and protect your son and your daughter the same way that you would want them, because too much things are happening today. So, you know, that's the main thing, because you look at sports, not only is it a tool to keep your son and your daughter active, you know, it also can develop, you know, life skills.
Right.
It can teach them how to be sociable. It can teach them how to be proactive about things. So, you know, parents need to really, really think about who you're allowing your child to be with. You know, I don't need to say anymore, because you hear all the stories.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
You hear all the stories. Now, as far as me, when I train my athlete, my client, or whoever, it's more than just business. It's more than just me being a trainer. I'm a type of person that, you know, I get personal, meaning that I can be that father who can guide that son and that daughter in the right direction, because we hear this cliche so often, it takes a village to raise a child, and I'm part of that village.
Right.
Because I have a son, I have a daughter, I have granddaughters, and I want to be able to steer somebody in the right direction. And you know, this is the thing that I put out. Like I said, it's more than just training and running and jumping and all like that. You know, it's also about life skills. So this is some of the things that I teach as far as life skills. You know, even with my guys, when they come to my practice, I don't allow them to come to my practice with their pants hanging down behind. You know, I don't allow all that.
Yeah.
And when you come to my workout, you come in there to work. I tell them, if you want to play, I'm not the person for the play with. So, you know, this is just who I am. You can find me on speedintensified.com. Also, I'm on Instagram at Coach Tone, Tone 58. And my number is 267-918-8964. And I'm a type of coach that once when I got you, you would never want to leave.
I like it. Throwing your number out there. Hey, why not?
Exactly.
Shoot your shot. Shoot your shot. Well, Coach Tone, thank you so much for joining us on our show today. It's been a pleasure. And every episode we're talking about athletes and sports and teams and things going on at the college level or even at the professional level. But it's great to sit down and talk about the behind the scenes, guys like you or women like you who are putting in the work to help get athletes to that stage. So I appreciate you coming on the show today. It's been an honor to have you here. And for everyone watching, you know where to find us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday morning at 9 a.m. We're right here on rvntv.tv. I'm your host, Renee Washington. I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you back here on Thursday.